Tonight, we dive into the lives and legacies of some of the most infamous women in Roman history. Women who didn't just live in the shadows, but who shaped power with cunning, ambition, and ruthless determination. These were the kind of figures who shattered reputations, manipulated the throne, and left behind a legacy of scandal, betrayal, and bloodshed. From poisoning emperors to seducing generals, and even sparking civil wars, these women weren't merely dangerous, they were unforgettable. Before we begin, if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know where you're watching from and what time it is. Sometimes, history's most gripping tales need a little patience to appreciate fully. Now, dim the lights, turn on a quiet fan, and let's explore the saga of Rome's most powerful and perilous women. Chapter 1. The mother who created a monster born into the highest echelons of Roman nobility, Agrippina the Younger, was the daughter of Germanicus and Agrippina the Elder, and sister to Emperor Caligula. But power in Rome was never a birthright to be enjoyed peacefully. It was a prize fought for with cunning, manipulation, and often deadly ambition. Exiled early in her life, Agrippina's fate seemed precarious, even as a member of the imperial family. However, when Caligula was assassinated and Claudius, her uncle, rose to power, Agrippina seized her moment. She seduced Claudius and married him, not just to become empress, but to wield true influence. Her ultimate goal was her son from a previous marriage, Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, better known to history as Nero. Through a series of calculated moves, she orchestrated Nero's adoption by Claudius, positioning him ahead of Claudius's biological heir, Britannicus. Coins bearing her likeness alongside the emperor's marked a bold statement, a woman asserting power in a man's world. When Claudius died officially from illness, rumors whispered of poison mushrooms delivered by Agrippina herself. Nero ascended the throne at 16, initially under her tight control, but as Nero grew, he resented her influence, stripping her of power and even attempting to kill her. She survived an assassination attempt by a collapsing boat, only to be later murdered by Nero's order in her villa. Reportedly, her last words dared the assassin to strike the place that bore Nero. Agrippina's story is more than ambition and power, it's a stark reminder that in Rome, even the most powerful women live dangerously, often undone by the monsters they helped create. Chapter 2. Messalina, the Empress of Excess. Married to Claudius as a young teenager, Messalina appeared to embody the perfect empress, noble, beautiful, and poised. Yet, beneath that facade, she was a whirlwind of scandal and ambition. While Claudius buried himself in governance, Messalina turned the palace into her domain. Senators, generals, and nobles fell under her spell, either as allies or victims. She rewarded those who pleased her and destroyed those who dared oppose her. One infamous tale tells of a contest between Messalina and a rival courtesan to see who could seduce the most men in a single night, a contest Messalina allegedly won without breaking stride. But her danger was more than lust. She wielded power with ruthless cunning, removing rivals with false accusations and executions. Her downfall came when she married her lover publicly while Claudius was away an act of treason in Rome. Upon hearing the news, Claudius ordered her execution. Found hiding in the palace gardens, her pleas and beauty could not save her. She died in her 20s, leaving behind a legacy of unrestrained desire and political ruthlessness. Chapter 3. Fulvia, the woman who took up arms before Agrippina, or Livia. There was Fulvia, a woman who refused the silence expected of Roman noblewomen. Born to wealth and power, Fulvia married 3 times, each husband a fiery populist leader who died violently. Instead of retreating into widowhood, Fulvia embraced political power, managing her husband's legacies and their followers. When Julius Caesar was assassinated and the Republic fractured, Fulvia stood alongside her third husband, Mark Antony, not as a bystander but as a strategist. When Antony went east, she raised an army against Octavian, Caesar's heir, leading a rebellion known as the Parisine War. Despite a fierce siege and starvation, she held out until the city fell. Octavian spared her life, but she fled to Greece, where Antony distanced himself from her. Fulvia's ambition cost her dearly, but she remains one of the rare Roman women to command troops openly and challenge the political order. Chapter 4. Julia the Elder, the rebel princess daughter of Augustus, the man who founded the Roman Empire, Julia was born into destiny. Her father molded her into a symbol of Roman virtue, marrying her off for political alliances and expecting strict adherence to moral laws. But Julia rebelled. She surrounded herself with artists and poets, indulged in scandalous affairs, and openly defied her father's rules. Her public behavior became notorious. Some claimed she even held wild gatherings on the forum steps. Augustus could not tolerate this threat to his legacy and exiled her to a remote island, cutting her off from family and power. She died forgotten, a tragic figure caught between personal desire and imperial expectation. Chapter 5. Livia Drusilla, the empress who ruled in silence long before Agrippina, Julia, and Messalina. There was Livia Drusilla, the model of quiet power and the original force behind Rome's imperial throne. She married Octavian, the man who would become Augustus, when he was still fighting for control of Rome. Their marriage was swift and full of controversy. Livia was already pregnant by another man, but none of that stopped Octavian. As Rome's first lady, Livia was the ideal Roman matron, graceful, reserved, and revered. Her image appeared on coins not as a goddess, but as the mother of the empire, the embodiment of virtue. Yet beneath her calm exterior was a mind sharp as a blade. Livia never raised her voice, yet her whispers swayed emperors and senators alike. Though she bore no children to Augustus, she was fiercely determined to secure power for her own son, Tiberius. One by one, Augustus's other heirs died under suspicious circumstantial illnesses, accidents, and rumors of poison followed in her wake. When Augustus passed away, possibly after eating too many figs laced with poison, Tiberius ascended as emperor, fulfilling Livia's plan. Elevated to the title Julia Augusta, she wielded immense influence behind the scenes. But Tiberius grew to resent her control, eventually withdrawing from her and even refusing to attend her funeral. Livia's reign was a masterclass in patience and subtlety. She didn't need armies or grand displays. Time and careful strategy were her weapons, and Rome never fully realized the extent of her rule. Chapter 6. Lucilla, the sister who tried to topple an emperor born into imperial privilege. As the daughter of Marcus Aurelius and sister to the notorious Commodus, Lucilla's life was shaped by power and peril. If Marcus was the philosopher king, Commodus was the embodiment of chaos, vain, cruel, and obsessed with spectacle. Lucilla had been married to co-emperor Lucius Verus and held the title Augusta before her 20th birthday. But after her husband's death, her influence waned as Commodus's madness took center stage. Unable to watch her brother's reckless destruction of Rome's legacy, Lucilla joined a conspiracy to assassinate him in 182 AD. Alongside senators and family members, she hoped to restore order. The plan collapsed in broad daylight when the assassin was caught. Lucilla denied involvement, but under Commodus's wrath, mercy was impossible. She was exiled to Capri and soon executed quietly, far from the capital. History brands her a traitor, but perhaps Lucilla was the only one brave enough to see the monster within her family and act. Chapter 7. Poppaea Sabina, the beauty who captivated an emperor renowned throughout Rome for her stunning beauty golden hair, flawless skin, and a voice like Silk Poppaea Sabina, was more than a pretty face. Born into privilege, she was as ambitious as she was charming. Her first marriage was to a man of status, but she quickly set her sights higher, becoming mistress first to Otho and then to Emperor Nero. Yet Nero's wife, Claudia Octavia, stood in her way a noblewoman beloved by the people, but cold and infertile in Poppaea's eyes. Poppaea whispered poison into Nero's ear, casting doubt on Octavia's loyalty and worth. Eventually, Nero divorced Octavia, who was exiled and later executed amidst public outcry. With Octavia gone, Poppaea became empress, indulging in luxury and commanding attention. But Nero's temper was volatile. In 65 AD, while pregnant with their second child, an argument ended in tragedy. Nero struck Poppaea, causing her death and that of the unborn baby. His grief was real but could not undo the loss. Poppaea's story is a stark reminder. Beauty might open doors, but it offers no shield against fate's cruelty. Chapter 8. Domitia Longina. The empress who survived the tyrant Domitia Longina's path to empress was not destined by love, but by circumstance. Daughter of a celebrated general, her early life was typical of Roman nobility: arranged marriage, social expectations, and quiet status. Her fate changed when she married Domitian, a ruler known for his paranoia and cruelty. As empress, Domitia bore him a son who died young. Their marriage was a political alliance rather than a love match. Rumors of Domitia's affair with a famed actor reached Domitian, who ordered the actor's brutal murder. Banished in disgrace, Domitia's exile was short-lived. Whether out of political necessity or personal desire, Domitian allowed her back at court. She endured his reign of terror, watching him execute rivals and declare himself a living god. When Domitian was assassinated in 96 AD, some whispered Domitia's hand was involved. Others say she simply stayed silent. Regardless, she survived the storm that swept away many others, emerging, respected, and unbroken, a testament to resilience and quiet power. Chapter 9. Julia Domna, the philosopher empress, with an iron will hailing from Emesa in Syria. Julia Domna was an outsider who became one of Rome's most formidable empresses. Married to Septimius Severus, a rising military leader, she accompanied him on campaigns and immersed herself in imperial governance. Julia was no mere figurehead. She advised on politics, law, and diplomacy, transforming her court into a hub for philosophers, poets, and scholars. Known as Mater Castrorum, Mother of the Camps, and Mater Senatus, Mother of the Senate, she blended intellect with influence. After Severus's death, she attempted to keep peace between their sons Caracalla and Geta. When Caracalla murdered Geta, Julia endured heartbreak yet continued to rule through him. Caracalla's brutal reign ended with his assassination, leaving Julia exposed. Rather than fade away, she chose to end her own life, starving herself while draped in imperial robes. Julia Domna's legacy is one of wisdom, strength, and tragic dignity, a woman who held the empire together even as it unraveled around her.